Good evening. I am so excited to have you all here tonight at Black Men Speak Up. My name is Carrington, and I am your host for tonight. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about relationships. And relationships are something that keeps us together as a community, and sometimes it can tear us apart. And so what I did over the past seasons of my talk show, which is a Carrington show, is I interviewed 100 men across North America to ask them what they felt, what makes them happy, and what makes them unhappy. Okay, so we're just going to play a little bit of a video of some of the things that were said.
And if you guys didn't see the post this morning about the topic tonight is it's a man's voice series. Yeah. And the reason why I wanted to do a man's voice is because sometimes or oftentimes a man's voice may get lost for whatever reason that may be, whether it be just a lack of wanting to share emotion, maybe fear of being weak. The reason why I still wanted to make sure there was a man's voice is in all the womanhood, I just want to make sure that the men are still heard and included. So I'm going to, I don't know if you guys remember, but I did a men's series in November, and that is the one that went to CTV News. Yes. And on that episode, I had done a survey. I surveyed 100 men across Canada and the US, and I asked them, because today's topic is all about what makes a man truly happy. And I asked each of them what makes them happy. And I'm going to replay some of those responses that they gave in that November episode. And I want you guys to answer for me, if a woman does not do these things, how do you feel? Okay.
Awesome. So a lot of people wanted to hear what the men had to say and what makes them unhappy and not happy. So I'm going to bring up some stats so we could see what the men are feeling and what makes them not happy and what hurts their feelings. So 85% of men surveyed said women withhold sex and withhold the kids for purposes of revenge. 91% of men surveyed said women only want men with good jobs, a car, and their own place. 93% of men surveyed said they desire a woman who is supportive and helps build him up. 67% of men surveyed like a woman who takes the lead in bed and when she initiates sexual pleasures. And 75% of men surveyed have been cheated on by their girlfriend or caught their wife having an affair. So we're going to talk about that in further depth with my panel, who I love so much. And I'm going to introduce them, and we're going to chop this up and talk about it and really get our feelings out there. Men, this is your time. So Andre, are you with me?
I am.
Andre, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this. And I know that you've been through a lot when it comes to relationships. So we're going to have that space for you where you could share that with us in a safe, judgment-free zone. And do we also have Jonathan here today?
Yes, you do.
Jonathan, I love you so much. Thank you for being here. I love everything you bring to the table. And we're going to talk about some of the things that hurt you along the way and how you recovered. So thank you for being here. And Ken from Kansas City, are you here?
Most definitely.
Oh, thank you for being here with me. I always love when we do some Casey and Casey time, right?
Yes.
So I can't wait to hear about some of the things that you went through, and we're here to support you as well. Awesome. And we have Monty from Japan. Monty, are you here with me?
I'm here, and good morning from my time zone.
Good morning, good evening, good everything. I love you very much. Thank you for being here with me. I appreciate you and I value you. And I look forward to hearing what you have to share all the way from Japan. And Ricky, my amazing friend Ricky, are you here with me?
Yes, I am.
I love you all the way from Florida. I love you.
Glad to be here.
Good. I love you so much. So we have people from all around the world. And the reason why I have these men with me is I really wanted to give a healthy cross-reference of what men are feeling from all walks of life. Okay, so we have people from different stages, whether single or married, and we're going to talk about it. So that being said, the stats that we just had, the first one, if we could just bring that slide up, let me see what that stat was. I'm just going to remember what we said, guys. 1 second. The first one was, let me just, production team, my apologies. There it is. 85% of men surveyed said women withhold sex and withhold their kids for revenge purposes. Thank you for that slide. Thank you. Andre, how do you feel about that?
I can't talk about the withholding of kids, but I could really expand and the withholding of sex. Oftentimes in relationship that I've been in, most of the time they try to use sex as a punishment, then to say, oh, I'm not having sex with you. Sometimes I really don't understand how women think, because
sometimes
I really don't, because how do we're in a relationship and I'm in a sexual need and you're gonna tell me you're not gonna give it to me? Then you're actually telling me to go find it somewhere else. But then when I do, then we have a problem.
You know, thanks for sharing that, because on the survey, most of the men that said the reason why they cheat is because their women withhold sex, right? And men in the chat, feel free to chime in. So do you think it was a controlling thing?
Well, that's what they feel like. They have control. They have control. They feel like figuring more or less, okay, because this is my, you know what I was told? It's my body. And I can give it to you whenever I feel like give it to you. Excuse me, we're married.
Oh, your wife, bro. Oh,
did I say that out loud?
No. That actually changes the context. No, I'm glad that you said that, because when you're married, there's an agreement. There's an agreement that you guys made, right?
At some point, I used to think that I'm not married. I'm actually probably just dating, because last time I checked, when two people come together, they're one, which simply means then I'm supposed to make sure you're comfortable. You're supposed to make sure I'm comfortable. Don't give me an ultimatum. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's my body. I will have sex when I feel like having sex. Okay, all right, fine.
And do you think that she thought, I know you might not know what she thought, but she thought you would not, she knew you couldn't go anywhere else? You understand?
It's not, the thing is, women like to be spiteful. Women feel like if they withhold their kids or they withhold sex, they're punishing you. It's like, okay, I'm punishing you for what? Okay, because you didn't do what I asked you to do yesterday, or because, you know what, you saw that there was something that needs to nail up, but it didn't get nailed up. But it could be for whatever reason, but they feel like it's a punishment. And you can't punish a man when we're in a relationship. We're in a relationship together, which simply mean then we need to make sure that we're happy on both ends. I'm not saying that we're perfect, but we're in a relationship.
Right.
Withholding sex and withholding our kids and all of the other stuff doesn't bring any form of justification, and it doesn't make the relationship better.
Perfect. Thank you. And what I appreciate about you, Andre, and about all of you on the panel, and for people in the chat, let's be mindful that this is their emotion. This is their feeling. So they're just talking from their perspective. So if they may say something at a turn that you don't agree with, this is just their emotion, right? So thank you for being so vulnerable. Jonathan, thank you for that, Andre. I want to talk to you about the other stat about 91% of men surveyed said women only want men with good jobs, a car, and their own place. How do you feel about that?
That's very true, because the first thing women will say is, I met a guy, you know, he has a good job, he has his own place, he makes X amount of money. And you never hear anything else. So is he good to you? Does he interact with you? Does he communicate well? Is he funny? Can he dance? That's not even a part of the equation. It's always, you know, I met somebody, or what do you do? Where do you live? And they can kind of do the mental Rolodex in their head as, if you have, you know, this much money, or sorry, if you have this type of job title, then you make this much money and you may live here or wherever the case may be. You know, if you say where you live, they're like, oh, Oh, you live there. All right. Well, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm self-employed. Doing what? That sort of thing. But if you say, okay, well, hey, I work at IBM or whatever. Oh, you work at IBM? Oh, wonderful. Okay, yeah. It's a whole different conversation. They perk up.
Right. And do you feel they're being shallow when they're doing that? Do you feel they have the right to have that sense of security? Do you feel they're being materialistic?
I think it's something that's been passed down from generation. I used to always ask. I remember I used to hear like my aunts and stuff like that tell my cousins, make sure you can find a man who can help you. And I'm like, help you do what? Like what do you need help with? What, cleaning? What do you need help with? And then you hear people say, well, I'm an independent woman and I'm this and that and whatever. Then okay, if you're an independent woman, then you don't need my help, right? It's this whole catch-22 sort of thing. So I think it's something that you learn over and over throughout your lifetime. So why then? I think it's more of what's the proper way to say it? It's something that they've heard so long that that's all they're thinking about, or that's what's out there. Because men are supposed to provide. Men have been told they're supposed to provide. You have no use to a woman unless you're able to provide. They don't need you for anything else. And I mean, hey, listen, I do parties all the time where people are like, hey, all the ladies, you don't need a man for nothing, make some noise. Like the whole crowd makes some noise. So they're telling you up front, they don't need you for anything else. And if you don't have a job, you can't be down with me. Simple as that.
Got it. You know what? And you know what I'm seeing, Jonathan? I hear that so many times. I think that's why it came in at 91%. And I also see in the chat that a lot of men are saying they want a high valued man, but they don't bring that themselves. And I've heard that over and over and over again from men, that men feel like, come on, ladies, bring something to the table as well. If you want a high valued man, bring something to the table. So thank you for your insight, Jonathan. Always on point. That's why I love you so much. Thank you. Also, Ken from Kansas City, I'm going to ask you the next one, which is 93% of men say that they desire a woman who's supportive and builds them up. And a lot of them feel that a lot of women just don't do that. What are your take on that?
Do a lot of women not do that? I'm not sure about that. I think for me, I've had it in both ways, and I think it also depends on background, experience, how you was raised. That kind of depicts if that's going to be the case. But for me personally, man, I have had some pretty supportive people in my life. I've had some people that didn't too much care. I mean, they're doing their own thing, or they have their. We're living in a time where individualism is a big thing. So community is something that we're kind of getting away from. Teamwork is something that we're kind of getting away from. Everybody wants to, goes to that. It's LeBron James and the LA Lakers. So the same thing goes, everybody wants their individual star. You see people out here being able to become social media famous and this, that, and the third. So they're able to provide for themselves, or they're in that seeking to provide for themselves. So,
And I remember when you and I podcasted together in Kansas City, you were mentioning that when you were in a relationship, it took you a while to remember, oh yeah, I got to bring something. It's not all about me anymore. I got to bring something. Yeah. Right. Like you had to get used to that.
Yeah, because I was used to going to go buy myself food. So I come, that's a funny story. So yeah, when I first finally got into a relationship, it was really a committed relationship. I had trouble in the beginning. Like I'll just go get myself stuff. Things I'm in routine, and you don't know how to often break that routine until somebody's face is sour, or they look at you like, "Hey, where's mine?" Like, "Oh yeah, I forgot this." So these are things that when you don't have these things. Like my mom wasn't around in my older years; she passed away when I was younger. Whatnot, you don't know some things, pieces of it. So I misstepped a couple of times.
Yeah, I know. Thank you for sharing that, Ken. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you. And Monty, I love you. 67% of men surveyed like when a woman takes the lead in bed and when she initiates sexual pleasures. Are you that 67%? Are you the 60? Did you vote on that?
I agree to that, but there's a part that goes before even the bed. A man likes a woman who can also have foreplay, talk. You know, it's like some people say foreplay will start at the beginning of the day with good morning or a message, and throughout the day you talk, and it leads up to it that night. So when the physical act takes place, we do want a woman sometimes to take charge and take control and tell us what you want instead of it being just a routine. But at the same time, we also want someone who stimulates our mind before we even get to the physical part.
Mm.
And a lot of times you have grown people who don't even communicate and talk about their needs and their desires or even fantasies, and let alone sometimes you don't even know what words to use that might offend somebody and turn them off.
True. And do you feel that when a woman initiates sex that she's being too aggressive? Oh, she's been around a lot. If she's the one initiating it all the time, does it give you this sense that she's being unclassy?
It depends on how she initiated. Because sometimes a woman can listen to her girlfriends, watch a TV show, read a book or something, and she say, "Oh, let me spark things up." And now the guy who falls into this routine and used to a certain thing, she comes with something brand new. We think as men, like, you've been somewhere else, you've been with somebody else, like, where you learn this from? But if two people sat down and say read a book together, watch a movie together, talked about things, and then act that out, it wouldn't be a problem. But everybody wants to better themselves, you know, have more knowledge. But when you don't do it together, sometimes we get confused and be like, okay, you didn't do that. You know, we've been together for a year and now you're going to the right instead of going to the left. Like, where'd that come from? So,
like, what if she's trying something new? But you're right. Like, what if she's just trying to
send me a memo, a text, something. We could try it new together. But when you just kind of, that's why I said it's a double-edged sword, because you want the person to be spontaneous and try new things, and you want to come home to say maybe a new setup and candles and something out of the ordinary, like a fantasy. But it's like, if you don't discuss it and it's just a pop-up, sometimes it can be taken as a good thing and sometimes it can be taken as a bad thing.
And I love the way Fabian said that the ability to not communicate is something from socialization from the Caribbean. I agree, Fabian, very much so. Thank you. And thank you, Monty, for your honesty when it comes to that. Thank you. That's why I appreciate you and love you so much. And Ricky from Florida, my sidekick in crime, I'm going to give this one to you. 75% of men surveyed have been cheated on by their girlfriend or caught their wife having an affair. I look at that nod. You're not even.
So, okay. So here's the, I guess it's a bad thing for me. So I've never had that happen to me, but I have been the other man in a situation. So I have.
So she cheated with you. Okay, let's do this. Okay.
Yeah. So, in those scenarios, what usually happened was she had her 80% with that guy, but then there was the 20% that she wasn't getting from him. And instead of talking to him about it, she just decided to go outside of that. Sometimes it was, she felt as if he wasn't paying attention to her anymore because he got so used to the routine. He got used to doing things the same way every day, wasn't paying attention to her, wasn't complimenting her, didn't make her feel young, didn't make her feel valued or beautiful. And a lot of times that's all it takes, is some man to show her some type of attention, and boom, she's in the arms of somebody else. So that's what it was for me. It did cause me to have a lot of trust issues. That was my karma, because I was involved in those scenarios, and then I had a hard time trusting women. So when she started being distant, is she looking at another guy? Is she involved with someone else? Is she emotionally attached to someone else? And it may not be physical yet, but eventually, if she's emotionally attached to that guy, she might give him the physical as well. So it started to create trust issues and issues as far as me being able to connect with my women. So that's what I have to say about that.
What I so admire about you all the time since we've met is your level of authenticity. And that's what we need to hear, is that you were on that side. And I love the way you said that that karma came back to you. And that's a perfect segue into the next question, where we were going to discuss some of the things where a woman has hurt you deeply. And I'm just going to start right with you. When was a time where a woman has hurt you so deeply and it was hard to get over?
Well, as I stated, I never got cheated on, so that wasn't my biggest hurt. For me, my biggest hurt was when my vulnerability was violated. You know, for me, it's very difficult to be able to open up, especially about things that go on in my life. I'm a public figure a lot of times, so I have to uphold a certain image. So when I'm in my sacred space, I want my woman to be able to support me and be able to listen to me without judgment, without any type of, you know, making me feel as if I'm less of a man. You know, I want her to be able to say, it's okay. You know, we comfort each other. I'm going to comfort her. She's going to comfort me. And when I shared something that was very personal with her, something I was going through, I thought that this was my partner. So I thought that brought us closer together. But then in the heated moment, she brought that back up and she used it against me. That hurt more than anything anyone could have ever said to me or done to me, because I had trusted her with that. And and honestly, it made the relationship hard to come back from. She apologized, but I still don't think she understood to the degree of hurt that she had instilled in me in that moment. I thought that we had created a bond that couldn't be broken. I thought that we had created a safe space where we could share anything. And in 1 second, when she got angry, she broke that. So we tried to get back on track, but it just couldn't happen. There was always a detachment. I couldn't share anymore. And she was wondering why I wasn't sharing my feelings or my emotions or what I was going through anymore. It's because I couldn't trust her anymore. So that resonated with me for years, until I ended up going into therapy as well to talk about some of these things, and realized that I was carrying the baggage from my past relationships into anything that I was going into now. So I take baby steps with it. I'm always transparent, because to me it's a difference. Transparency versus vulnerability. Transparency means that I'm open, but vulnerable means I'm able to share my weaknesses. So I'm very cautious and I have discernment when I share that part of me with a woman.
That was powerful. The difference of transparency and vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you touched on that about women throwing things in your face, that came very high on the survey. It was, 88% of men said that women have thrown things back in their face in a heated argument when they know it's going to hurt, to try to get back at them. And some women say I didn't mean it, or when she tried to get back with you, she didn't mean it. Whether it's intentional or not, we want to make sure all of our mics are muted, please. I'm going to say I believe it's intentional. We know what we're doing when we do that. We know what we're doing. And that's a big reason why men stop opening up, because they've had that bite. And then women wonder why you don't want to talk. Why won't you be open? Or the next woman's going to think that because you've been burnt before. So this is a great learning lesson for us all, that when a man is vulnerable, to hold that as sacred, be his best friend, be his confidant. Because once you throw that back in his face, even if you do get back together, the trust is never the same. And that's my opinion. The trust isn't the same. So Ricky, thank you so much for sharing that vulnerability and transparency with me. Love you. And Andre, I'm going to go right to you. It's a perfect segue, because you and I have had some real deep conversations about women throwing stuff in your face?
Yeah, so Ricky, you're so right. And I find that many times I find that women don't really understand us. And I am talking about it from the perspective that when we're in a relationship and we get our heart broken, vice versa, men or women, instead of we get to try and understand the next relationship that we're trying to get into, we put up a big wall. And that big wall just bring about the division within the relationship. So I can't really get through to her. She can't really get through to me. And I've had experience in my relationship where I've gotten things thrown right back at me. Like, when a dumper truck is just letting off its load, it just let right back on. And I'm like, why did I even share it in the first place? You know what I mean? And this is why sometimes as men, we don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want to be open up. And people wonder why you don't talk. And they think that, oh, he's just so rough because he grew up in Jamaica, or he is rough because his parents. No, it's not that I'm rough. It's just that I'm afraid of being vulnerable, not knowing what you're going to say when you get mad at me. And when these things coming back, it's like, okay, why did I even say that to you? You know what I mean? Why do I even open up? Why do I even talk?
Mm. And it's so hard for Black men to go out there and face all the challenges that you guys have to face against the world with your employers, with the police, whatever it is, with leaders. And then to come home to that place where you need to be safe and to know that the person that you're sleeping with is also out to get you. Where do you find that place to be safe?
I personally believe that women can be so annoying. They are annoying sometimes, and they really annoy the heck out of us as men. And sometimes they're like, why do we even share? We don't ever want to talk to anybody. And the best person to talk to is the woman that is next to us every night. I've been telling women the truth and they think I'm lying.
I remember you said that no matter how honest you are, they still think you're.
No matter how honest we are, how transparent we are, we're still our liars. And then sometimes I look at them and I'm like, listen, I know what the problem is. Black women are so used to losing, they never know when they're winning. Because I can come in as a real, genuine man, being genuine, being honest, being open, and I've been called a liar. I've been called a cheater. I've been called everything else except what I am doing, what I'm presenting, and what it is. Why?
And I remember we were talking about, you felt that sometimes they would sabotage, like you would give them everything that.
It's funny. I think there was a topic that was discussed earlier, a percentage about a woman don't want a man if he have a certain job or if he doesn't have money or a certain degree. And I look at it and I smile because I look at my four parents and I look at those relationships that was lasting 30 years and 40 years that never built upon money, house, wealth, riches, or education. It built upon two people building a foundation and making sure that whatever they had was going to work to make their relationship what it is. Today world, we need to have, as men, if we, as the gentleman Jonathan said earlier, where do you work? Where do you live? Oh, Malvern? Oh, quang, 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 quang. Oh, what school did you attend to? How many degrees do you have? It's not, let us put 2 and 2 together and know that it's 4 and see how we can get 8 and 12 and 16. You know what I mean? And the list goes on. Those days are gone.
And do you feel as a Black man, sometimes it's harder for Black men to get employment, to get those things, to get credit, to get a home? So it's harder for you guys to get these things. And when you don't get it, the woman doesn't want to have anything to do with you.
Everything is hard, but everything can be achieved. Everything is hard for us as Black men, but we also can achieve them as long as we put our mind to it. I always say, as long as I have health and strength, I have the ability to change the world, right? But all we need sometimes is just that one person next to us to just, you know what I mean, give us the drive. And because no man is an island, no man stand alone. We might be men and we might be macho, but we really need that significant other next to us right there saying, babies, you can do it. Say we can move the world together. You know what I mean? We can move mountain. You know what I mean? but sometimes that same woman is the same woman that just drive us bananas. And then
Perfect. Yeah, I get that. I get that. And what I'm going to do, thank you for that, Andre, is I'm going to do one more friendly reminder to the women in the chat, that this is a men's space, okay? So we're going to let the men speak what they need to say, and we're not going to argue or put our perspectives. This is Black Men Speak Up, okay, ladies? So I love each of you, but if there's some of us who are chiming in that might be defending ourselves or going against what the men's saying, that's not what tonight is about. So we are monitoring the chat, and we want to make sure it's community friendly. And if it continues, we're going to have put an end to that, okay? So that being said, Andre, we were talking about, sometimes women just annoy the heck out of you.
yeah, they do, and they annoy us in a way where it's just unbelievable. And like I said before, especially when you're talking to them about the truth. No, you're lying. How do you know I'm lying? Because I don't believe you. But I am telling you the truth. So okay, let me lie. If I lie, you will make you feel better. And it's weird because I will tell you the truth. I have tried it before, and it's no joke, no word of a lie. I have told the truth, and I've told that it was lie, and I told the lie, and woman hug up. Women love lies. Right? A woman, I'm sorry, Sharon, you guys love lies. We will tell you a bunch of lies. You hug that up like it's our honeymoon. I'm telling you. And let us be factual and just give you the honest truth, because the truth sounds too good. The truth is too plain and simple. I need to find some corners to go around and some limbs to climb upon so you can believe me. And that's the lie. And why? Why? Why do we have to lie for you to believe us? And that's just dead on facts.
And what I appreciate about you is this is your perspective.
My perspective.
I know that you're not talking about all women, but you have every right to express what you've been through.
Yes.
And so when you say the word women, you're talking about your experience.
With my experience.
Exactly.
Experience. Yeah.
Exactly.
Thanks for clarifying.
I've got you.
Yeah.
And Jonathan, I know you and I have had some great conversations, and we were talking about, women have hurt you in your past, and it really had an effect on you. So can we go there again tonight?
I want to say something, and I'm going to start and say that the thing that hurts me the most is a woman not being present in your life. You could be lying down beside a woman, but she's not present. She doesn't know what you're up to because she just doesn't care. I do a lot of events. I've done a lot of different things. I've DJed different places, and you're telling your woman, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And at the last minute, she's like, oh, well, I got tickets to go to this, so I'm going to go do that. Or you tell them months in advance, hey, I'm doing this, whatever. And they're off to that. And the only time that they're present is for optics, as opposed to when you really need them. There was a time in my life where my best friend had cancer and was basically clinging to life. She was in palliative care. And I went to visit her, and she was unresponsive. And I left the hospital, and I didn't even know what to do. I didn't know what to drive. I didn't feel good about driving. I was just whatever. And Christmas was the day before. Christmas is the anniversary of my brother-in-law dying of cancer. Here it is, my best friend, the mother of my three godchildren, and she's the godmother of two of mine, is unresponsive. And I remember for the first time ever, I did a Facebook Live, and I just poured my heart out. And that night, I got called back to the hospital by her daughter, and she passed away. And I watched her take her last. I was in the room when she passed away. I did not see her take her last breath. And I was like, Wow. Now keep in mind, from that morning, I hadn't heard from my girl at all. The next day rolled around, and maybe 11 o'clock that afternoon, she's like, hey, where are you? I was basically I didn't hear from her all the time. And I mean, okay, cool. I told her, you know, that Carol had passed away. The next day, another one of my friends passes away in a car accident. So I've had one, memories, whatever. And the whole cancer thing and death and whatever. And I remember I felt that whole period of time, I felt so alone. I felt so not supported. And I went into a new year by myself. And it made me really think about it made me really just think about my worth. And what am I not doing? Why I can't get her to value me? Why is it that I feel the way that I do? What can I do? Pray to God and ask God, please make this relationship work. And nothing I did, nothing I tried, because at the end of the day, she just did not want to be there. She just did not want to be present. And I even went and I said, hey, if you want me to go, I'll go. But it just became this, you know, the relationship was eroding. And that's for me, doesn't matter what relationship it is, but when a woman is not present, when a woman doesn't even know your size of shirt, when she doesn't even know that, you know, you're on a diet and you're not trying to have any meat. And the one thing she cooks for you is something with meat in it, or you don't eat pork and here comes the pork. And I'm like, you're basically saying you don't want me to eat, or either eat this or too bad. So that's kind of it.
I love the way you were just saying things like these details that we need to be mindful of. Your shirt size, you're on a diet. Are we listening to the things that you're saying? I want to lose weight. I want to do this. And we're not, us women could be so busy in all the things that we're doing that sometimes we're not picking up on these details that matter so much to you. And it does matter. And we need to be more present for those things. And I remember when you first told me that story about her not being present. And you went on Facebook Live. I know you and I had some conversations before where sometimes you feel like other people are your family than the ones that are closest to you.
Very true.
You've said that quite often. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Jonathan. I just always love when we get to share this space together. Thank you. And Ken.
Yes.
What's something that a woman has done to you that has really, really, really hurt you?
You know, I thought about this after first off and foremost, appreciate all you brothers for sharing your stories. You know, to be in that space and be able to share your stories with people is not an easy thing. So the vulnerability is definitely real. So shout out to everybody supporting that. No, actually, I was listening to that question. I was going to mention a couple of people that, you know, I've been with, but, you know, I'll tell you where it started off for me. It started off for me with my mom. My mom used to be my best friend. Like she was like, I was a mother's boy, you know what I'm saying? A mama's boy, whatever. And I would tell my mama all my things. And as I started to get older, you know, you start to go into more deeper, intimate moments. So I'm 15, 16, telling her, hey, I'm with this woman, and, you know, just all these different things, you know, trying to get advice, but, you know, or whatnot. One day my mom was we had friends was over, so my boys was over, whatnot, sisters, everybody was present. My mom had it was a Good Friday, so my mom had been drinking a little bit or whatnot, and she asked me to do something or give her something or whatnot. And I wasn't really like, quick with it or whatever you would say about it. And she flipped on me and she started to like tell my business, like, that's why you did this and that's why you did that. And I should have told your father. And I'm just like, whoa, my friends is over here laughing at me. It was the first time like I felt naked in front of everybody that I ever loved, you know what I mean? And I was like, it took me a long time to get to a space where I would ever tell any woman um, anything about me in that space, like anything that was in depth that I felt like, could be then turned back on me, because this is my mom. This is where it starts, right? It's the foundation. And I'm very reserved about how I do that. And it's almost like I don't want to even call it a test. It's just at a period of time. If I'm rocking with a chick, I feel like, hey, everything is going well. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and lay this out to her, because I got things that I don't openly share with a lot of people. I got my own things. Like I talk to anybody freely, but I have some things that are private to me. I'm like, I'm not gonna share that with anybody. So when I do get to a space, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and drop this on this person. I've shared some things, and then just like my brother Ricky, I've had that same conversation soon as it decides to get into a heated moment, because this is a relationship. Relationship has this to it. You'll have your peaks and your valleys. It's gonna be days when we ain't rocking. But when we not rocking, don't choose that moment to then attack me, because like the relationship is built up in a space where I don't need you to be there for me when the sun is shining, because that's everybody's there on the sunny days. It's when the rain and when the thunderstorm is coming through. That's when I need you to hold your position. That's when I need you to be that solid rock for me. So when we going through it, that piece that I told you, hold that in, because this is we storming right now. You know what I mean? So it's that type of thing. And then another piece I'll say real quick. We talked about cheating a little bit earlier, whatnot. So I'll drop this real quick. In my first, I would say 3 or 4 committed relationships, and we'll go through the different stages of like teenagers, 20s and 30s. I had some good women, but these women cheated on me, and I didn't recover from it. Like, as a guy, you hanging around your guys, like, I'm doing good. I mean, it's cool. I mean, I'm good, on to the next one. But what I would start to find out is like I used to listen to music, previous cats. So I was like, I'm not gonna carry this forward because, I mean, she didn't do it, I mean, we'll start a fresh slate. But I wasn't getting help or any type of therapy for it at that time. So by the time I got to like, moving forward in other, more mature, older relationships, I would see different mannerisms or different characteristics of what I thought a woman was doing in my past that was cheating, and then I'm cheating. That's not good, you know what I'm saying? So I'm becoming the person that I had endured those things. Now I'm becoming that person that's portraying these same things and doing these same things. And it took me a while to kind of figure that out, and start to go get help, because hurt people, as they say. And it sounds real cliche as hell, but when you actually look at it, that's the storyline behind that, So
Mm. I love the way you brought it back home to mama.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Because we're talking about hurt relationships. It doesn't always have to be with your partner,
Yeah,
right?
it starts there. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't always happen, because that's the person that you typically, if you have a woman in your life, it doesn't have to be a mom, but if you have a woman figure in your life, a lot of women that you will then go on to be with will kind of be modeled after that person in some way, shape, or form. They may not be exactly, but they're going to be pieces that you've grown up with, women that you're attracted to because you saw this in your mom, you saw this in your aunt or your grandmother or somebody in that space. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and I saw my good friend Mr. Clark in the chat saying, yeah, it starts from at home. He was agreeing with you that sometimes the mom just isn't,
Yeah.
it could be us, right? So thank you for sharing that with us, so us mothers can be mindful of that. Maybe some of us are missing that. I love the part when you said you felt like naked, you felt so exposed, you felt so like thrown under the bus by the person who's supposed to have your back.
Like that. If it was just like, my mom, my dad, my sisters, I can deal with that. Okay. But when you got the friends and the family there, it's like these guys know me, so they know a little bit about what you're saying. And now you just put that out there, like, oh, your mom know, and she knew this, so it's like, oh wow. And women, they got a way about delivering it a little bit different. And her delivery was crass.
A little dramatic.
Yeah,
A little dramatic.
You gotta say it like
We could
that.
be
Like I felt
dramatic.
like that big. So, I mean, what do? You sit in the living room with all your family, you just like, I mean, you just shrink up in that space. It's like, if I could, I'd have been like, dude, on like Friday when you just ran off to the car, like, that's how I felt.
The word that you said that I'm holding is hold your position, ladies. Like, hold your position. That was key. Hold your position. Thank you. Thank you for positioning yourself so vulnerably here with me tonight. I love you, Ken, very much. Thank you.
And Omar, woo, that's tough, brother.
Omar is tough. Omar, he's love me some Omar. Monty.
Time for the craziness.
Woo! Listen, yo. You know how I do as a host. Crazy is always
been holding it in the whole time.
I know. I saw your face. I saw your face through the screen. Okay. And we say crazy.
1988.
Oh,
1988.
okay, everybody hold position. Okay.
Boot camp, U.S. Navy, San Diego. Before I went in, I had thought I won the heart of a cheerleader, pursued her, wooed her, did everything I could to get her. And in boot camp, I got what they call the Dear John letter. For those who don't know what that is, it's a letter that basically, we're not together, you're far apart, I'm missing dances and blah, blah, blah. And I met such and such, and I'm doing this. And you're in boot camp, away from friends, family, everybody, going through things. And you really look forward to those letters that you receive from home and loved ones. And I got the Dear John letter. And it was like a knife, but at the same time, it put me in a place where I want to go home. I want to leave the Navy. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go win back my girl. And at that time, my therapists were drill sergeants. So all we had was get your head out your ass, get back in the game, blah, 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 blah. And right after I got the letter, maybe 3 days later, they had volunteers for firefighting rescue, Navy SEALs, like the elite things. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna be all I could be. I'm hurt. I'm 100% Navy now. And that's what I went into. I went into firefighting rescue. I passed and I was doing everything. And if anybody ever seen Officer and the Gentleman, that scene at the end when everybody's graduating and he's standing there by himself, that's how it was. And then after that, every job and every position I went for, I had the mindset of doing it by myself, that nobody would be there. So a lot of times when I went for jobs and positions, I did cut other people off, even if I was involved with them, which was wrong. It's just that it's like now I'm doing something for myself and I don't know if you're going to be there or not. And they could have been a good woman, but my thing is I'm going to go for what I need to, and I don't want that distraction. And sometimes that can ruin relationships. So then when you seek the right therapy, you realize that you do need a good woman, or they say behind every good man is a good woman, which is true. But sometimes we get so driven into ourselves and we become selfish because of things we've been through that we hurt others, we distance ourselves, and we're thinking that all along we're being the man. And just like the movie Officer and Gentleman, you realize you achieve all these goals and you look around and you're standing there by yourself.
You said something in there where you said you were standing there alone. You were standing there alone. Did you feel alone physically or emotionally, mentally, or all the above?
It's all the above. It's really emotional and you don't know it until everything is over. So it's just like going through the police department. You know, you're going through all these things, you're learning all these laws, you this, and then you get to walk across that stage and you shake the mayor's hand and everybody throws their hat and they celebrate. And right there, you're with everybody. But it's right at the end when you see the families go off and they go to hug their kids and you see, you know, the ceremony closing and everybody's leaving the door and you're walking out the building by yourself. That's when it hits you. So it's like you can climb that mountain, but then once you plant that flag and you look around, you know, the news cameras and everybody can be there when you plant the flag. But then once you plant it, now the news cameras go away, the helicopters go away, and now you got to get back down the mountain and you realize how alone you are.
And I'm going to speak directly to your heart because you're talking, what I love about you is you always talk about men, like that's how we feel. That's how I want to go right to your heart. In one word, can you describe how you felt when you were alone. If you could put it in one word, how did that situation, how did she make you feel in that pain?
One word, let's see. Castaway. Like you on a desert island by yourself. Just like that. At nighttime, in the jungle. Cold.
Yeah, I love that. I love that imagery that you gave me. Castaway in the jungle, dark and cold is exactly how you felt. And if I know you, you put yourself in a position where you would not feel that again, correct?
Oh yeah, it's as they say, the therapy, talking to people, reading, it gets you to a place where like now I can laugh about it. I couldn't 1988 or 89, but right now, life goes on and I laugh about it, and different relationships I had, I know I pushed people away, and I'm not sure if they can laugh about it, but hopefully we can come to some kind of dialogue where we can talk and be cordial with one another, and they can realize that, I didn't do the right thing. I might have been doing it out of selfish reasons, but it was not intent to hurt them.
Amen. Amen. I love you for that. Thank you so much for sharing. That was so powerful. That was so powerful. I'm hearing the word therapy, therapy, therapy. Everyone's saying therapy, and that's exactly why we're here. We're here because this is so therapeutic. And I don't know if you guys are aware, but we always like to close out from an affirmation from my book, Shame Over. This is a book that I wrote for men's mental health. It has different chapters for men of all walks of life. It's for Indigenous men, it's for Black men, it's for dealing with fatherhood, it's for dealing with sexual abuse, the issues you guys would have with family court, LGBTQ, dating, everything's in here. So this book is available on Amazon. It is for you. Shame is over. Today, all shame is over for you guys. I commend you for showing up here. You come here openly. Everyone in the chat, I saw all your comments. I see them all. If you want to reach out to me after, we could take that further. I appreciate you and I thank you. So we're going to bring up the affirmation for today. And I thank you in advance for all of you who have a copy. Thank you so much for purchasing that. I just want to make sure that you guys have a resource that you can go to. So today's affirmation comes from, I chose number 6, 12, and 13 and put them together for you. It says, I am an attractive man and feel great in my skin. I release all those in my life who silence my voice and my worth. I deserve unconditional love. I release all those in my life who silence my voice and my worth. I deserve unconditional love. That's exactly what I want you guys to repeat for any of you who have someone in your life that is not serving you the way you believe you deserve to be loved, because every Black man deserves unconditional love. Release whoever no longer serves you. You are worthy. You are lovable. Men matter. So what I'm going to do before we close out, I always like to thank the production team. If you could just bring up your slide, because I just thank you so much for helping me create this safe space. As you guys know, in everything we're going through, everything is virtual, and without you, Sassy Levy, you make this so seamless. Technology is what matters, makes my life easier. So I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for always being there and for taking care of the background. I also want to bring up my slide. If anyone wants to get a hold of me, I am always, always here for you guys, no matter what. If you guys know me, I am all over social media. I always respond right away. Men, 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, you can find me. You can reach out to me at my website. I am here. Safe Judgment Free Zone. There is Shane. Roots Community is here for you. We value you, Black men. We love you. This is a safe, judgment-free zone. I see all your thank you so much. I thank you guys and the women and the viewers for coming month after month and supporting our Black men around the world. We have Barbados in the house. We have Japan in the house. We have the States in the house. We have Hawaii in the house. We have Australia and UK. All around the world, this movement is going further. And Black men, you have a voice, and we're here to hear you, because today and every day is Black men Speak Up.